Greetings and welcome to GAMFT in what is going to be a new mini sub-series we're calling GAMFT First Halves. The intention of this is we're going to put out a few episodes that are us talking about the first half of a series or something. Mainly because we have a few of them stored up, and we talked about this in particular, which was the first half of Season 1 of Star Trek Discovery, which we spoke about last year when it premiered. Enjoy. But before you start enjoying the actual substance of this wonderful discussion that Mark and I are going to have, I just want to say hello to Simon. And my best memory, my enduring memory about Simon, who listens to GAMFT on occasion, thank you very much, by the way, is of him reaching up in front of my car and with fake blood on his hand during that scene that we shot in the lane by the farm for Lost, not the TV series, obviously, the short film of Mark's that Simon and I both worked on, and then Simon's proceeding near hypothermia and almost seeming to die. Because it was, 4 a.m, and we've been shooting all day, and it was pretty chilly. Anywho, on with the episode. Thanks for listening. This is GAMFT. Remember, the T is silent. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is in my neck of the woods, CBS All Access online-only series, Star Trek Discovery. Rest of the world gets it on Netflix, which I must admit I'm rather jealous about because I have to pay an additional $4.99 a month to get access to it, and that's with ads, which is really annoying. But everywhere else it's on Netflix without ads. I would have to pay $9.99 a month for it without ads. But anyway, that's a minor crime.
Wait, run that by me again.
$4.99 a month for CBS All Access, which is their streaming service. But the $4.99 a month only buys you a subscription like a Hulu subscription, where you get limited ads, but you still get ads in the show. You get like a minute and a half worth of ads every 25 minets or something like that.
Right, so it's like Channel 4's streaming thing here.
Oh, is it really? Okay, 4OD or whatever it's called. That's an old name.
All 4 now, but that's still free. But you pay because with your time.
Okay.
I don't think they even do an uplift where you don't get ads. That explains why these shows are formatted with breaks for ads.
Yes, and the first 2 episodes were shown on real CBS over here.
Okay,
or at least the first one was, because they did I think it was the first 2, because they did unless it was a kind of like a bait episode, because I know they did the first 2 were released at the same time, and then beyond that it's been weekly until the mid-season break.
Which is where we're talking up to. This is meant to be a pre-return thing, but it's actually going to drop probably after
most of the second series has actually gone out.
Yeah. And I've got about 2/3 of the way through the latest episodes, and latest episode, and you're about 1/3 of the way through, I think.
Yeah, I watched the start of the post, the return episode, or whatever you want to call it, episode 10.
Okay. So, do we want to go through it chronologically, or do you want to talk about some feelings about or thoughts about it to set the stage a little bit? I mean, you've watched Star Trek in the past, but I don't think you would consider yourself as kind of big a follower of Star Trek as I am, right?
I watched a lot of it in the 90s, so I've seen all the Shatner ones. I've seen all of the Picard ones at least once.
The movies,
I watched some of Deep Space Nine. I watched some of Voyager at the very beginning, and after a while, I was just like.
See, I think because I'm a few years younger, it was right around that Deep Space Nine Voyager part where I was like, "Yay, Star Trek!" and it really sucked me in.
There was definitely a point where I realized I liked William Shatner more than I liked Star Trek.
Interesting, because I'm actually not a big fan of the original series. I've tried on several occasions to rewatch the whole thing, and I just find it a little bit on the tiresome side. I enjoy it, but I much prefer Next Generation and the Rick Berman era, which I did ever send you that I did, didn't I? So I randomly took a quiz off of Facebook. It was which Star Trek ship would you belong on?
Oh yeah.
And it was just like, select this, and one of the questions was select the biggest enemy in the Star Trek universe, and one of the options was Rick Berman, and it made me all like, no, I like Rick Berman's output aside from most of Enterprise. But it's funny because I up until maybe 2 years ago, I would have said that Voyager was my favorite, going kind of against the grain. But I've since rewatched all of Next Generation, all of Deep Space Nine, and all of Voyager.
Holy shit! You rewatched all of them.
I rewatched all of them. Yes. It took me about a year to watch all of them, just kind of here and there. And I would say,
boy, that baseball episode of Deep Space Nine's a golden piece of the era, isn't it? Wow, what a
that and the civil rights newspaper episode, they're not great. Magazine episode, they're okay.
I don't know that one. Sorry, I only saw the baseball one or part of it for the first time last weekend because my brother and the kid were watching.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I was like, this is not good.
It's not great, is it? No. But I would say now that Next Generation's probably on the top, and followed by Deep Space Nine just above Voyager. But they're kind of tied almost. There are episodes of Voyager that I like better.
That, Kate Mulgrew. Take that, guy who played Chakotay. Take that, Harry Kim.
Garrett Wang.
Take that, Garrett Wang. Robert Duncan McNeil.
Robert Duncan McNeil and Tim Russ.
Tim Russ. Oh, poor Tim Russ. You've really let him down.
Take that, Robert Picardo.
Cool. Sweet Gremlins 2.
Robert Beltran. That's Chakotay.
Is that the guy who played...
Yes.
Who did he play?
Chakotay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Take that, carpeted silver weird bridge.
Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, I gave up even before she came into it. To me, she's Dark Skies.
She's Dark Skies. Yeah, we've discussed that before. Yeah. So I was deeply into all of the 90s series. I tried to like Enterprise and failed. Although succeeded in some respect toward the end. I think the last season it actually got a lot better. But didn't love Enterprise. Like the premise, but the results wasn't a big fan of. For no adequately pinned downable reason, quite frankly. I don't know. Yeah, I suppose I preferred it when we went into the future rather than went back into the past. And this was why I had a bit of a problem initially with the concept of Discovery. I was like, how are we gonna do this? And then the answer to that question is, we're gonna cheat. That's how they did it. They cheated. Aesthetically, at least.
How? Oh, because they just did whatever the fuck.
Because, they just did what they wanted, and it looks like a J.J. Abrams film. And that's something interesting to point out, is this doesn't exist in the J.J. Abrams, what's that called? There's the Prime timeline, and then the Kelvin timeline. The Kelvin timeline is the Abrams movies.
Does it or doesn't it? Because...
It doesn't.
We got into this on text.
Yes.
But surely that universe forks off at the moment Kirk's born, which has to be before this.
Yes, but they have said this exists in the Prime universe.
Okay.
But they don't follow through with that.
Or does it?
Episode 9! They don't follow through with that, with the visual style of it, and be like consistency with the Klingons. The Klingons are so completely different. So there's a lot of inconsistencies, and where this slots in makes no sense. In terms of if you were to be a giant dork and watch it chronologically from, the very first episode of TOS to the very last episode of Voyager, this would be a big outlier, and you'd be like, why does it look like 2017 in this one? All of a sudden,
yeah,
the 90s in these ones.
Okay. Because that's when they were made. Like, it's fiction.
Right. I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. I initially had a reaction.
Don't you?
No, I really don't. When I first saw it. You're going to say "don't you" again, weren't you? When I just
decided to somehow hit the mic with my beer.
Oh right, okay. When it first came on, I thought that So there was there were like some teaser footage that was released months and months and months before it came out, and it was just a shot of the ship. And I really like the design of the ship. I think the design of the ship is really cool. Apparently, it was a rejected design for the Defiant, I believe. Gene Roddenberry didn't like it, so it's actually an old design. It's not brand new. It's adapted from some concept drawings from way back
Defiant?
when.
The one from Deep Space Nine?
No, the Defiant from the original series, which is a trip that gets caught in the Mirror Universe. And so it was originally. Oh, I think I'm getting that right. But anyway, even if I'm not, who cares? But I really like the look of the ship.
Find us on Twitter.
Yeah, and kind of thought, well, this is going to be cool. And when the show opened, I was like, I had a bit of a reaction, and I had to kind of catch myself because I thought this doesn't look right. This doesn't look like it's going to slot in. But then I thought, never mind. They're just kind of going, we're making a Star Trek series now, and we're going to make it look how we want it to look. And if you got a problem with that, get out of here. So I was like, okay, I'm along for the ride. So I actually love the way it looks. I think it's gorgeous. The graphics are pretty. The uniforms are fine. Not my favorite. They're a bit too much like the Enterprise boiler suits for me. But in general, I think it looks great. I think aesthetically, it's a fabulous looking show.
Yeah, I can't really argue with all that. Occasionally it'll go a bit TV for me, and I'm a bit like, but it's definitely trying to be that cinematic, floaty, kind of, we're on canted angles, and we're going to do this, and oh, look, here's a lens flare or whatever. That's not true. As bad as maybe the recent movies have been, but
no, I think you're right there. But it is going for that. You're right. I agree. And like I said, initially it was threatened to be a problem for me, but I kind of caught myself and decided to not make it one. Because I think if they had tried to make it look like pre-Kirk era, or that's when it's supposed to be, isn't it? It's pre-Kirk era original series time, right?
10 years, I think.
10 years before
Kirk and Spock.
Before the original mission, yeah. So
yeah.
Yes, so I mean, they could have gone full 60s on it and had toggle switches and flashing lights and shaky sets and all that kind of shit.
Some stupid fucking buttons. Energize or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. But like bits of old IBM computers nailed to the wall and stuff like that. But they didn't, and I think that takes some kind of courage and bravery, which I enjoy.
I think it would be even braver to make the show that looks like the stupid shit 60s show, but do it seriously.
Yeah, do it completely straight-faced.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of badass, actually, if someone was like, no, we're going to do this. Mind you, that's kind of what the Orville is, I suppose, but we'll get to that.
Which I still haven't seen any of, unfortunately.
I've been very interested to see what you make of it. Try episode 3. And just start there.
I would really like. I wanted to watch it and it just didn't find the time, unfortunately.
I'm vaguely up to date on what they've been showing here of it.
Where are they showing it there?
It's on Sky, have a Fox channel.
Oh, okay.
And it's on that, I believe. And it's I watch it through my phone or the TV if I want to on Now TV, which I have a subscription for, which is like Sky's streaming.
Right. They're basically
Netflix. Attempt.
Yeah. Okay. There's a thing called Sling here, which is similar.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, what are your? I mean, given your past with Star Trek, what were your feelings of it when you watched the first couple episodes?
Oh, they were rough. So rough.
Yeah.
I struggled. It wasn't until episode 5 that it even mildly got me.
Really? I was around episode 3.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, no, I have notes on most of this, but I remember those first 4 describing them to Pete as a slog. Oh,
that's not good.
And but episode 5 I really liked, mainly because of its beginning and ending. But
is that the introduction of Mud?
Yeah, probably
Dwight
was, because it was the prison one, I think.
Yes, yeah, it is, yeah. Yes, that's.
But it wasn't actually the middle bit. I could have just done without, but it was the beginning and end with the tardigrade stuff.
Oh, I love the tardigrade.
That I could have that I really really liked, but I'll get to that in my notes.
Okay. We could just start at the first episode if you'd like.
Yeah, but we don't have to be that linear about it.
No.
Otherwise, we'll be here for 9 episodes worth, which is like almost, I don't know, 8 hours.
Yeah.
But no, I probably would have stopped watching if we weren't going to do this.
Okay.
I'll be honest, because I
quite frankly
didn't really need it.
I had to catch up today, and I did a little bit of self-reflection as to why that was, and it's because it didn't hang on to me. I was kind of pumped at the end of the second episode. I was like, and I think the end of the second episode is where Michael Burnham, the main character, has fallen from grace, and we're getting into the real story, and we're meeting Lorca and all those sorts of people.
See, like, I would have cut all of that shit, and I would have gone in episode 3. I would have done little flashbacks.
Oh, interesting.
Rather than tell that whole, like, awkward she's a mutineer arc origin, like, preamble. I would have jumped in and I would have had people tell that story. So you would have started with her in the prison ship or whatever it was, and you would have had me like, oh my god, you're that one that did that, and then start having it drip in.
Sure, yeah.
Because then the audience could make it much worse. Well, you don't even have to show flashbacks then.
Okay.
But you can have her as this disgraced thing, and have her sort of have audience education by reputation.
Yeah.
Okay. So that it's other people's like, my god, she's that one. You know, have that be the thing, and people be.
That leads to intrigue.
They're quite cool with her quite quickly.
They are. Then that leads to intrigue. You're right, because you, as an audience member, you're kind of going, "Oh, what did she do?"
Yeah, what did she do? And I think audiences would make it worse than it actually was.
Yeah, definitely. Because the shame is all on her. You know, she was, although what she did in the end was resulted in something bad. She was following what she thought was the right thing to do. It wasn't like she was being deliberately malfeasant or anything. You know, she wasn't like actively trying to be a mutineer.
Yeah, I think it kind of lets her off the hook a little bit as it goes on. I mean, there's not a lot of characters in here I like. No.
Tilly? Do you like Tilly?
Is she the autism roommate?
Yes.
She's okay. I like that she says fuck.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that kind of shocked me because it's Star Trek and it's 6:30 on a BBC Two type thing. So when
she's like, it's fucking cool,
I was like, oh, okay, I like this. And actually, that was it that episode, the third episode that was really bloody as well, where they find the other ship that's experimenting with the spawn drive, and they find all like the curled up corpses and stuff, and it was kind of graphic.
I think it is.
Yeah,
where they find the tardigrade or whatever.
Yeah. Ripper, I think is what they call it originally, isn't it? But yeah, then they start referring it to as the tardigrade, which I love. I mean, I think tardigrades are awesome, so I love the fact that the hero of this is a tardigrade for a part of it at least.
It's probably him and Lorca are probably my favourite characters.
That's funny. But what do you think about I was called Nigel Havers. What the hell's his name? It's not Nigel Havers.
Jason Isaacs.
What do you think of Jason Isaacs?
He does it pretty well. I think the costume is a bit tight. I think it makes him look kind of skinny rather than commanding at times. But then it does that for a lot of people depending on their frame.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I've got notes, but I'm actually right now. I'm struggling not to be negative about it.
Okay, no, that's fine. Be honest. That's kind of the point of this. So, did you watch it? Did they didn't release it in like a big dump over there? Did they?
No, one a week because
they
were following CBS. So it came out like if it came out on a Sunday over there, it came out on Monday here or something.
Right.
Like that.
Okay, that makes
maybe
sense.
Tuesday. I forget.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was way behind for a while. Like
me too.
I caught up by about episode 5, and then I only watched the last few over the last week and a half or so.
Okay. Yeah, I realized that I'd watched up to episode 6 and not beyond that, and this morning, and so I watched 7, 8, 9, and most of 10 this morning.
Oh goddamn! Okay.
So the thing that's a little bit different to this is in comparison to other Star Trek series, is although you've always had a focus in terms of character like Picard or Kirk, it's always felt much more like an ensemble, and they've tended to tell the stories of the ancillary characters as well, or stories centered around them at least. So like think about Next Generation, there's a few episodes that are focused on Data, and a few episodes that focus on Worf and Geordi and those sorts of people, and a few focus on Troy and Crusher, and Riker, in fact. This is very much focused on Michael Burnham. Harry. There are a couple of Harry Kim episodes.
Oh Christ! Okay, those must have been rough.
There's a couple. There's like 2 or 3 where he volunteers for like the mid shift, which is like the night shift on the bridge, and he plays his clarinet on the bridge, awkwardly dubbed in clarinet.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a bit painful.
Hey kids, it's 45 or 44 minutes of Harry Kim playing clarinet tonight. Tonight at 8, Harry Kim's on Dark Watch.
I think one of them actually is not called Night Watch. So.
Oh, Christ.
Anyway,
Okay.
but that's not the case with this. Although we're getting details of the other characters like Lorca and Tilly and Sulu, which just sounds like someone saying Sulu in an insulting Japanese accent, I thought.
Oh dear, okay, yeah.
And the cantankerous genius doctor whose name I can't remember right now, and his fella. It's mostly focused on Michael Burnham and the tortured soul of this human who's been brought up in a Vulcan society to Spock's parents.
That's fair, but I think it kind of caps that by episode 9, so I think that's essentially the first act.
Okay.
I'd be very interested to see if it kind of spins out
Breaks
beyond
out
that.
from here.
Like, yeah,
I hope so.
Well, I would think so. Like I thought, spoilers, I thought they were going to kill her in episode 9.
Oh, interesting.
Like maybe I hoped they would.
She's not especially likable.
Yeah, no, she's not. And that Ash guy is just kill him. I mean, come on, like
Ash guy.
The boyfriend, love interest, tortured soul.
Okay. Sure.
I thought they were going to kill him at one point. It's a bit like Jumanji in that respect, actually.
I thought
like
they were
at different
kill him.
points, I thought they were going to kill different characters. Like I thought they were just going to clear the dead wood.
Yeah,
and it would be almost like what's the way to describe it? Like
I thought
like
they were
kind of
like
war movie series where like
okay.
characters, no one's safe. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
like
this is about them, but
Game
now
of
it's gonna be
Thrones.
about other people. Yeah, Game of Thrones. Or there was a series in the 90s called Tour of Duty that was about Vietnam.
Okay.
That I'm pretty sure constantly killed its main cast and replaced them.
Huh, interesting.
But yeah, it was going to be kind of that thing. So you'd have like episodes about these characters, and then it'd be about the ship, but the ship would be a rotating kind of core of people.
Okay, interesting.
I don't think we're there yet in terms
I don't think so.
TV.
No. It's Tyler, I think is the name of the Ash character that you mentioned. Is it Tyler? Is that Tyler?
Ash Tyler could be his name.
Maybe, yeah. I thought he was going to die when he got all PTSD in that episode 9.
Yeah.
I thought that the admiral was going to come out safe with them, and he would be dead on the ship, on an exploding ship or something like that, having come around and finally got his.
Yeah, I wondered if he was going to blaze a glory, to save them, or whether she was going to blaze a glory, or whether I don't know. At different points, I thought they were going to kill different people, and I was okay with all those deaths at that point. I didn't really, because they'd kind of capped off Michael Burnham's arc as well at that point, slightly artificially, I think. What did I write for that? Artificial feeling wrap up to arcs, but I don't mind it. Was my note. Like it kind of felt like they tried to cap it because they suddenly the Klingon dude in that episode had her like Georgiou's badge.
Yes,
which I didn't really get that it was her badge until the last minute. I thought it was the Admiral's.
Actually, in that episode, I thought they'd pulled a Dobby. So when she grabs the badge and beams out, there's like a slash, and I thought it was going to cut to like her on the bridge, and they were like, "Yeah, celebrate, we got back," and then she'd be in the corner bleeding to death. Yeah,
she just a splurgy puddle of blood just lands on the transporter pad.
She lands in two halves, and then a big splash of blood.
Yeah. And then just the Georgiou bag goes ping, 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 ping.
Splash, splash, splash through the blood.
And I thought they were going to kill Stamets as well. That was the other one I thought they were going to kill.
Which one's Stamets?
Your engineer dude.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought he was going to die doing that one last jump. And
okay, yeah, I thought so too.
I liked him. He was all right, actually. He's on my list of people I didn't
good.
like. Especially when he was kind of, I'm drunk and I'm weird. Stamets. I've got a all full of spores or whatever.
There's more of that. There's more of that in episode 10. If you haven't got there yet,
I can't remember.
Don't stab me with a bat'leth.
Oh no, I haven't. Then I think I where I finished on episode 10 is boring love interest Ash Tyler man going like, I don't think I can do it, and everyone's like, you can do it, and then he does it, and I was like, stop.
Fair enough.
It's like there's nothing really happening here.
Yeah.
It's indicative of, like, those first 2 episodes aside, which is preamble, it's indicative of a thing that happens in comics where it's all about getting to the next issue. It doesn't resolve anything.
No, it's true.
It's about filling time until you get to the next thing. And a couple of episodes here would leave you hanging and then not address what they'd left you hanging with for a whole other episode.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's kind of a weird, like, attempt in modern TV to kind of just fill time, rather than we've got all this story, we've got 9 episodes of great story. Yeah. Occasionally there just feels like there's an episode that should have been somewhere else. So they do that when the Admiral lady gets kidnapped by the Klingons in that sweet, like, thank you for hosting the peace talks, kill them all, we're going to kidnap you. And then the whole next episode is them on a fucking planet.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
Dealing with Will-O-the-Wisp.
It is Will-O-the-Wisp, isn't it?
And I was just kind of like, where's the fucking...
That's not new, though. I mean, I agree with you, and actually during my rewatch of the other series, that kind of thing crops up particularly badly in Deep Space Nine, and in the later seasons of Deep Space Nine, where they've got this whole Dominion War thing going on, and it's the Cardassians and the Founders and the other folks, or the I forget what they're called, but anyway, it's them against the Federation, and there's all these episodes with epic space battles and stuff, and we're on the brink of destruction. They could come through the wormhole any time and take over the Alpha Quadrant from the Gamma Quadrant. And then there's
let's play baseball.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly. There's that, and so that happens, and I think a lot of people thought that with it having been taken out of the hands of Berman at the end of Enterprise, that sort of thing wouldn't happen anymore. But it just seems like it is. It is happening in a different way, kind of, because it's not as... There's nothing as light and airy in this show as there was in any of the 90s series, even Enterprise. It's got a distinctly darker tone. But it's clearly not immune from that. And I think the one of the big problems that I have with it is it falls into the same trap as the J.J. Abrams films, in that it's shifted what Star Trek is, even though I think it's trying to be a bit more true to it, and because of the type of ship that Discovery is, it's probably like a Black Ops type ship. It feels like we're dealing with a bunch of warriors instead of a bunch of explorers.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I would counter that with the excitement they had about the overlapping 3D maps of wormholes and multiple dimension bullshit in those last couple of episodes. That true. Kind of got you back towards that kind of exploration kind of thing. Yeah. But then you have very, very angry Vulcan Admiral guy on the phone. True. Who's kind of telling them to get back to murdering everyone.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
It's so angry for a Vulcan. It's so
He
weird.
really is, isn't he? Which, again, goes along with the JJ stuff, because, Spock isn't really Spock in those movies.
Fair. Yeah, fair. I don't know. I feel the need to defend it now we've just said that, because there are bits I liked about it.
Oh, there are bits that I liked about it too, absolutely.
I don't know where to start, actually. I like Stamets. I think Stamets and his whole husband/lover thing with the Doctor are pretty cool. Like, I kind of like that.
Sure, yeah. I like the fact that they didn't make a big deal of it as well. Because a few people who are maybe more... I don't know how to put it politely. Less embracing of different lifestyles over here have started calling it SJW Trek, Social Justice Warrior Trek, and they're like, oh, it's just a big furthering of the liberal agenda kind of crap. That they're going on with that tiresome rhetoric that they've just heard from someone and repeated. And I don't feel like that's the case at all. I think having a woman as the kind of the primary protagonist is great. But also, you know, there's a female primary antagonist, and then also there was some rumor that flying around, oh, there's going to be a trans character in it just to it's like, so what if there is? This is Star Trek. It's all about acceptance and just like, okay, this is a lifestyle, but it's normal. So yeah, I had a bit of a hard time with some of the reaction that has come out around this show. But I think everything as far as that goes has been handled pretty nicely.
Yeah, I haven't read a great deal around it, actually. I'm sure there's a lot in Phil's Facebook group about it, but no, I liked all that. I liked the world it set up. I just didn't necessarily like the people who inhabited that world.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Fair enough.
Saru's genetically engineered to feel threat thing was a bit silly.
Yeah.
And then in one episode it doesn't happen, and then in the next episode it happens again, and I was kind of like, well, where was his threat ganglia then, you know? Yeah. Why didn't that set it off? I like the whole Black Alert thing. I don't know why, but I like Black Alert.
Yeah, that kind of ties into wider Star Trek stuff and the speculation that this is a Section 31 ship. Section 31 being a kind of like semi-rogue, do it at all costs, intelligence, dark kind of side to Starfleet.
Okay.
It's popped up throughout the various different series in the 90s.
I don't know memory of that, but okay.
Yeah, there's an episode of DS9. In fact, a running string of comes back a few times where because you know Julian Bashir in that episode is like illegal genetically engineered guy, and they keep trying to recruit him.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a theory, or at least an intimation that this might be a Section 31 ship, but I'm not sure. That was kind of what I was thinking to begin with, but as it's gone on, I don't think it is. And if it is, it might be like this is the start of Section 31 rather than it being an established thing already. It was There was in the episode, in episode 3, I guess it would have been, where Burnham's being brought onto the ship. There's a close up of one of their badges, and one of their badges has a black insignia on it. And that was
I remember that actually, because I thought it was kind of cool. It was shiny and black.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's kind of a hint.
It was one of the kind of bastard squad with their guns.
Yeah, one of one of your stormtrooper kind of guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Stormtroopers, death squad or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think what I've got on notes wise that's worth even saying.
Do you like her as a character, the Michael Burnham character, even at all? Do you find it? And I don't find it very interesting. I want to. Like, the premise is kind of interesting. A human. It's almost like the flip side of Spock, or like Worf. You know, actually, because Worf was Klingon brought up by human parents.
Right.
She's human brought up by Vulcan. Or, you know, brought up on Vulcan as a Vulcan.
I get what they're doing with her, and there was a point in probably episode 7, based on these notes here, where they had a chance to really do something with her, and it almost gave her an emotional breakdown.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. And then they almost had that moment again in episode 8, and they didn't do it. And then I was just like, you're never going to do it. You're just going to... It's not really about anything. It's just she's going to keep going back to being the kind of robot. And
yeah,
like the kind of the fighting of the Klingon... not Klingon, sorry, the Vulcan programming and the way she naturally is human and the emotions and stuff. It feels like there's about to be a breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in that respect, I think the bloody Big Bang Theory's done more emotional development than this show ever will. Yeah. I don't mind watching her. I mean, I don't mind watching unlikable leads.
Fair enough.
And she was very good in Walking Dead. She's the actress from The Walking Dead. And I liked her in that a lot. And when she was going to be the face of this, I was kind of like, all right, nice. But it's just kind of like, it doesn't really just kind of do anything for me. Like, all the more interesting stuff is at the fringes.
Yeah.
And that's why I was kind of like, yeah, kill her, and then, move on to some of those other people.
Yeah, you're right. The incidental stuff is what I found most interesting. And one of the things, as a Star Trek nerd, one of the things that I'm interested in is finding out how they're going to tie up the whole spore drive thing and tie that into the rest of the universe, because obviously this is a radical new way of moving around. And how they're going to kind of and that's why I think this might be like none of this is on the official record. I think that's how they're going to get out of it. They're going to say this is all of the commanders that we see in this and all of the admirals are actually not operating within the standard Federation or Starfleet leadership structure, and they're a splinter Section 31 area, and that's why the spore drive is never discovered or talked about later on, because it was a failed experiment. And I think the way they get out of this show and tie it into the rest of the universe is this never happened, according to...
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Which feels like a bit of a cop-out. It's a bit of a JJ, we rewrote history kind of thing. But because it's a dead end, it's a timeline dead end. But it gives you an opportunity, I suppose, to do something in the traditional canon later on that refers to it. Maybe. I don't know.
No, I get that. I mean, that's where just looking at my episode 5 notes here, other than the pre-title sequence on that is just a perfect exercise in creation of empathy, I think.
Okay.
Which is all the stuff with the tardigrade. And then the hook of that episode for me, which I've written down here, was that it does make you think about the future of the show and how, did they ever find another tardigrade?
Yeah.
After they're sort of killing that one, or is that where it dies because you can't do it without one, and they're kind of like, no, this is where we draw the line.
Right, could be.
Which is kind of loosely in line with what you're saying in terms of how does the future become the future, and how do you get to 50 years of Star Trek or whatever we've had now, if this is the point, or are they just or I'm wondering by the end of episode 9. And the bit I've seen of 10, whether even if we're going multiverse, whether the other fucking spore drive's blown up.
Uh-huh.
So, and they've taken the only one out of the universe
into the mirror universe. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they just never build another one. Maybe they never get home. Maybe this now, after 9 episodes, forks off and does its more interesting thing.
Discovery Voyager.
Could be. Yeah. Maybe they never get home, or maybe when they do get home, it's fucking past Picard time, or they could do anything they want to now if they want to.
They could.
But the chances are by the end of episode 10 they probably are home.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I haven't completed episode 10 yet. Like I said, I'm about 2/3 of the way through, but I don't know, it kind of feels like they might be staying in the mirror universe by that point for a couple,
is it
episodes.
Definitely aligned as the mirror universe with the beards and shit?
Haven't seen any beards yet, but there are. I believe in the last Mirror Universe episode that I watched was one of the Deep Space Nine ones, because they go to the Mirror Universe in a few of those episodes, and I think they refer to it as the Terran Empire, and that's what they call it in this as well. I think that's what they. So I think it's this.
Oh, okay. So there's linked, not necessarily overt, but there's enough to point that way.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. The idea that Earth is not benevolent or hasn't evolved the way it did in our universe to be this kind of altruistic, egalitarian society that wants to explore and make friends with everyone. It's the opposite. It's a xenophobic, warmongering, evil, conquering empire type society that wants to
Which sounds like the universe in Discovery generally.
Yeah, yeah, kind of.
So they must be right at home. That's why I was wondering whether or not they were kind of going to go, rather than the first moment in that first recent movie where they were just kind of okay, we forked off, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Whether they were going to take a couple of episodes and then they were going to go sideways.
Okay.
And then they can do whatever they want. But the chances are they don't. It's probably not that well thought out, and they probably don't care that much about what fans make of it, because they probably know they're going to keep coming back.
I think it's going to be a fiddle. I think they've made that declarative statement of we are in the Kirk, the original Kirk. We're in the Roddenberry, the Prime timeline. So the way they're going to allow themselves to be creative and not be forced to tie into everything, I think is going to be a fiddle, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and they did do a nod to that, didn't they? Because in the weird Groundhog Day episode,
yeah, which I quite enjoyed. Aside from the modern music, I like it. In my Star Trek, I like it when they have silly plinky plonky future music, not modern music, and it was all
not
contemporary to
Wycliffe Jean.
Yeah, it was too contemporary to our era, and I was like, no, stop it.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree, but it did. It took me a few of the flashbacks to get it, but it was a disco.
Yeah.
On disco.
Oh, I didn't even get that. You're right. It was a disco on disco.
And I was kind of like, it's disco on disco.
If they're all getting drunk, then there were going to be STDs on STD.
They were. There was a lot of like kissing and fondling. And, they'd cut to people and they'd be like the girl with half her face blown off with the guy, from the bridge or whatever in the background, wasn't there?
Yeah, exactly. And who knows what kind of diseases Ash got from that Klingon when he was her sex slave.
Yeah, I got a note on here that just says Klingon prison rape.
Yeah, that's dark. That's really dark.
Yep. And I think I got there about 4 episodes before they bothered to tell us.
Oh, really? Huh.
So, yeah. Where's my... Hang on a minute. Let's see. Which episode?
So the episode that he's introduced in, it kind of... that was when I figured it out.
Episode 5, yeah. It's note 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Klingon prison rape. Yep. Captain has taken a liking to me, is what my note says.
Yep. That was when I got it too, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what were we talking about?
Just that Groundhog Day episode was kind of a fun one.
Yeah.
I like the way Harvey Mudd, I always want to call him Harvey Mudd because I want to, Harvey Dent, anyway. He I like the way he mixes up the way he kind of announces himself a little bit. The way when he comes in at first in the space whale in a spacesuit was pretty great. Just starts killing everyone. Yeah. But wasn't the ending to the episode like horribly and completely unsatisfying? Oh, now he's stuck with the woman he ran away from, and we're not going to press charges for him murdering hundreds of crew members time and time again and trying to steal our ship and sell it to our mortal enemies.
It just says ending is a bit soft, is what I've got. So I've got written there, so that makes sense there. But that was a tie into the original series, and they only show it for a brief second. But the I think the Baron or that ship or something shows up because that weird ship that just looks like a
super
busted
60s
chandelier.
Yeah,
is super 60s, and that's a tie into the series.
I think so.
I swear I remember that ship. I didn't go looking for it, but I think I remember that ugly thing, and they only show it just like fucking off, so you don't like question how bad the model looks or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think in the first episode that there's that episode where they go into onto the space station where Mudd's supposed to be, and they're looking for him. And it kind of no, wait a sec. I'm putting a Deep Space Nine episode in my mind. That's. I
was about to say I have no idea what you're talking about.
Do you remember that episode of Deep Space Nine where they like awkwardly put everyone in to a 60s episode and they cut like Kirk and Spock in, and they've time traveled back, and there's Dax in the short little skirt and stuff
with the Tribbles.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, it is the trouble with Tribbles, but there's a time travel aspect to it.
The time travel with Tribbles.
That's probably what it's called.
I like that at some point I think it was the captain had a pet Tribble.
Yes, he did, didn't he? Yeah, one of the very first. It was probably episode 3.
Looking for my notes. It was episode 3. Pet Tribble was my last note on.
Yes.
After floating Klingon exposition ship.
they seem to, unless I missed it, they seem to kind of cater Namuria his eye problems.
No, it's actually brought back real late on.
Okay.
And I kind of liked it. Did I make a note of that?
Must have missed that.
I might not have made a note. No, I've got one that just says in episode 9, I've just got one that says drops. Because just before he blows up the Klingon ship that they know is there, he puts them in so he can watch it.
Oh, okay. Huh, that's
because
cool.
it's going to be real fucking bright.
Yeah, okay.
And he turns around, he puts his drops in, like, they haven't mentioned that in forever. And he puts them in, then he turns around, he watches joyously as this thing just fucking explodes.
the death ship or whatever they called it.
Yeah, Ship of the Dead, I think, or something.
That's like
it,
yeah.
What
do you think of the Klingons? They took a big left turn with the Klingons.
In episode 2, I have a note that just says, "Is the Klingon the same?"
The Klingon is not the same. No.
Yeah, the Klingon is not the same. I put Klingon as well, like.
It's the Klingon.
Excellent. But I don't know. I don't really care. Like, I thought the suits were all cool. I thought like the makeup effects was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, would you have them do like Worf style, or would you have them do kind of like the boot polish.
I think herein lies the problem.
1960s.
I think herein lies the decision where they were like, we cannot do boot polish people and we can't just do black guys because in 2017 that shit don't fly, quite rightly.
Yeah.
But they can't do Worf style head ridges because it doesn't match with the timeline, and that's been referred to in later episodes where I think it's actually in that episode of that I was just talking about where they go back in time and there's some Klingons like making trouble in the bar, and someone's one of the characters, I forget who it is, someone maybe Odo says like, where are the Klingons? Or it could be I think it's actually Chief O'Brien. It's like, where are the Klingons? And Worf's like, over there, and he's looking around. He's like, where? It's like them at that table, and then he asks him, well, what happened? And Worf, and the way they get out of it is he says, we don't discuss it with outsiders.
What'll it be, boys? And don't ask for Ractigino. If I have to say we don't carry that one more time. The Klingons.
Klingons?
Over there and over there.
Those are Klingons?
All right. You boys have had enough.
Mr. Worf?
They are Klingons. And it is a long story.
What happened? Some kind of genetic engineering? A viral mutation?
We do not discuss it with outsiders.
Nice touch. But this, they've got very ornate. Like, I like the fact that the one dude, the kind of greeny one, had his painted thing, and there was the albino one, albino rhino.
Yep, at the start.
Yeah, and I kind of liked what was the guy who kicks them all off, like the not Stalin, the Lenin kind of guy.
Takuma.
I kind of liked that, and I kind of liked how everyone who came after him was trying to pervert what he'd done. And it really did make me think of sort of communist Russia and the kind of selling out of an ideal kind of thing. And I
take it in my direction.
Exactly.
My
and I kind of dug that. And the same with Laurel, is it? When she kind of is just like, take me to your ship. And I kind of dug that. I kind of dug how infighty it got quite quickly, and how there was the kind of concept of honor changed quite quickly.
Yes, it did. There's even a reference made to that where in I think in episode 9 where Burnham says to is it Cole, I think is the name of the red paint guy. He says you have no honor. I thought Klingons were supposed to be about honor, and he says you have no idea what honor is.
No, that's
or
true.
Something like that.
Yeah, because I remember thinking
and which is him defining honor a way that is convenient for him.
Well, and also the concept is, it doesn't have to be the human concept of honor. Does that make sense? Like the universal translator or whatever can go like
absolutely
honor, on a word that could, like the Klingon thing could actually be something entirely different, which I kind of liked.
It's true. Yeah, that's nice. It kind of brings the grey into it, which I quite like.
Silence. Where do you want to go next?
Yeah. I wanted to like it more than I do.
Okay.
Because it's the first new Star Trek TV series in 12 years, I think. I think Enterprise ended in 2005. And so it's a long time since we've had Star Trek on the TV. And I love episodic Star Trek. I have a great love for it. So I wanted it to be really something very special that was kind of fill that hole of like fun space adventures with some philosophy mixed in, which is what I love about Star Trek. It's the kind of like, here's a philosophical problem, we're going to look at it through the lens of this really interesting sci-fi universe. That's kind of what Star Trek is to me, and that's why I don't especially like this focus on the conflict. It was those episodes of Star Trek that I was always like, okay, spin on a little bit, but it really seems to be, and it's probably why I'm a bit more okay with the odd episode here or there that just kind of goes, forget all that's going on. Let's talk about an interesting subject. There was the episode where you had the logic extremists in where there was the suicide blowing up guy when we first kind of
when Sarek or whatever was dying
Sarek,
somewhere.
yeah.
And,
mm-hmm. And yeah, exactly. And all that stuff where they're communicating through mind melds and that sort of stuff. I quite enjoy that sort of thing. And I think focusing it around a massive conflict is a mistake, which is why I would like for them to tie that up. And they kind of have in the universe, but then they got shifted to the mirror universe.
More like universe.
It's the more warlike universe where they can focus more on war, and it's like that's not what Star Trek is to me. That's kind of what the movies are for. It's like the movies of the WrestleManias to tie up these storylines, and then we do the interesting philosophical stuff in between on Raw and SmackDown.
No, I could get with that. I mean, I'm going to bring it up now, and I'm going to say that the show you might want is the Orville.
Okay.
Because I don't know who it's for.
No, I'm curious because I've had such a distaste of Seth MacFarlane since A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah, and it's not going to cure you of that, but it's him playing Star Trek because he can afford to. Okay. And he's bringing his mates along for the ride. The one I started watching and haven't finished yesterday stars fucking Charlize Theron.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, and one the other day, like Liam Neeson popped up in.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Just little bits, but Charlize Theron's the main character running through it. Huh. It's weirdly, it's kind of familiar. It feels like Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
It's very evenly lit, weirdly evenly lit. Like TV doesn't look like this anymore, which makes it look kind of cheap and kind of floaty, but
right almost.
No, well, not. I mean, it's just like an old form of television, but at this point, that's new again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Star Trek Disco is kind of at the arse end of this kind of like peak TV, let's make it look all cinematic, but isn't really doing anything of substance.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas the Orville it's not really doing anything of substance, but it's making you think it is.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to watch it then.
And it's kind of doing it in a way that's like pleasantly old and there's no audience for this, but because one man has enough, rub in Hollywood, he can get away with it.
All right. Interesting.
Like I'm amazed. It's apparently they've both been renewed.
Oh, good. Okay.
I did see that. So we're getting more Star Trek Discovery and more Orville, which is a shock. Like the Orville should not exist on a mainstream. Like it weirds me out that
it's on Fox.
Disco
right?
is on. Yeah. I don't know if it's shown on Fox.
I don't know.
It's certainly made by them.
Fox. Yeah. Just looking at it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that would make sense because it's on Fox over here, like we discussed.
Yeah.
But it weirded me out that Disco is on your app thing.
Yeah.
And the Orville's on mainstream TV. Whereas
it doesn't make any sense, does it?
If you were going to attract an audience, they would be flipped.
Right. Yeah. You think real Star Trek, quote unquote, should be on a major network, and knockoff Casino Royale Star Trek should be on some streaming service.
Not necessarily in those terms, but the fact that the Star Trek thing as it exists is like modern TV.
Yeah.
Whereas the Orville is kind of like, for want of a better word, cheap looking.
Okay.
Because that's the look they're going for. That's the style they're going for. It's very static. The camera angles are very held.
Okay.
Everything about it, just the way it moves, the way it looks, the way space looks, the way everything about it really is just very, very 90s. In the same way, actually, that the 2 episodes I saw of it in the cinema, the Inhumans thing that ABC did, that looks like the big budget 90s TV. The Orville looks the same way.
Didn't you describe it as like Space Precincts to me at one point?
Yeah. It kind of is.
Yeah.
That or any of those kind of.
You're selling the Orville to me in a way that hasn't been sold to me before. It's a bit more and more appealing the more you talk about it.
I think I want you to watch at least episode 3 and maybe 4. I think was the other one.
Okay.
And tell me what you think of it, because I don't know who it's for.
Okay.
But if it isn't for you, then it's for no one.
Do you want me to start there, or do you want me to watch? I was going to just start at the beginning, but.
You do you, baby.
Okay.
The first 2 are kind of a slog. They're like, I don't know what this is. 3 is where they do something where I would say after the first 10 minutes they forget the jokes and they just do a Star Trek episode.
Oh, okay.
And it's got a moral quandary, and it involves the species, and it involves people's perspective on things and whatnot.
Cool. Okay.
Whereas the first 2 are kind of like, we're going to set it up, and here's another dick joke, and it's a bit awkward, and are you drinking a beer while flying a spaceship? Like, kind of stuff.
Okay. Because
not that it doesn't always do that.
No, but it's intended to be a comedy, right?
I can't tell you because I don't get it.
Okay, all right.
It's intended to be Seth MacFarlane going, I like Star Trek. I'm going to make some Star Trek.
All right.
Like it's like fan fiction. It's like weird, which is one of the girls I work with is a big Star Trek fan. And she says she treats Discovery as fan fiction.
That's interesting because I treat the J.J. Abrams movies in that way, as in being like
I think she actually everything that's beyond that golden era or whatever, the 90s, probably is fan fiction. She would probably put the movies in there as well.
Okay.
But I've never asked her what she makes of the Orville, but it feels like it's someone, and I think they've got like, not necessarily Rick Berman, but who's your other guy who was big? One of the big DS9, there's a name I recognize who's been involved in it.
Is it Robert Hewitt Wolf or Ira Stephen Bear, one of those two?
Could be. Hey man, I'll bring it up.
Oh, Brannon Braga.
That's it, Brannon Braga.
Yeah.
I knew there was a name I recognised that was involved in Thing. And do you want my interesting fact about the episode 10 and episode 5 of the Orville and
Disco.
Star Trek Disco?
Sure, I'd love it.
Both episodes directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, good old.
It was only
takes.
I hit skip intro on Netflix.
Yeah.
When I was watching episode 10, and it just hung on that card for a couple of seconds of directed by Jonathan Frakes.
You're like, what?
And then I was kind of like, wait, hang on a minute. I went back to the Orville on Now TV and was kind of like, didn't that say it was directed by Jonathan Frakes? And they both. So he's done one in both worlds.
Excellent. I love it. He's
doing the Charlize Theron one that I'm currently halfway through.
Okay, cool. I like me some Frakes, so that's great.
But two more different shows in terms of like, I'm going to bring my style to it. I couldn't imagine.
No.
But it's nice to see him just working.
It is, definitely, yeah.
Two
Interesting.
takes.
So on the subject of other things that are like Star Trek, have you seen the first episode of season 4 of Black Mirror?
No, I've seen a picture of it.
Okay, watch that, and we should discuss that at some point. I watched it yesterday, and it was fun. Yeah. Anything else to say on Disco?
I wish they'd kept Lorca more separate.
Yeah, he becomes one of the team after a while, doesn't he? Yeah,
and it softens him a little bit.
It does. That's true. Yeah.
I'm just running through my notes, seeing if there's anything worth mentioning. Unmotivated lens flares are silly. There was one lens flare that just happened in the second half of the pilot that just kind of came from nowhere.
Yeah.
Bomb on a corpse, classy.
Yep, that's true.
Autism roommate. Keep Lorca separate. Science versus War was nicely handled in episode 3.
Okay.
Or 2. No, episode 3. And again, like if you were going to do it and you weren't going to show the preamble, when she gets delivered the box of her
like decode this
former possessions.
Yeah. Oh, that I see what you're sort of saying. Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, here's a knackered telescope, and here's all my things that I wanted you to have, and she has that reaction.
Yeah.
Would have been so much better.
Oh, it would have. That's true. Like, who is this, and why is she getting these things?
Exactly. Like you'd kind of get that, but she's a captain. But then, what did she do for her not to love the captain that she always loved?
Yeah.
Also, Michelle Yeoh. Like, it really bothered me. Because you knew way before it started that Jason Isaacs was the captain.
And then all of a sudden Michelle Yeoh is, and you're like, well, she's
Michelle
dead.
Yeoh is the captain, and then there was something about like, oh, there's 2 captains, and it's like, oh, so Michelle Yeoh is going to be dead by the end of the pilot then. And I kind of called it, but if you'd had her just sort of somehow like pepper her throughout the entire series.
Yeah.
Rather than just have her as someone who walked a bloody Starfleet badge in the sand when they could have just let off a flare, I don't know.
Yeah, that felt a little bit pretentious, didn't it?
I don't know about pretentious, but it was certainly kind of like, all right, all right. We get it.
Yeah.
Sexy older Starfleet lady.
Sexy
I like that admiral. She was kind of. When she walked into a room, she really kind of like. Not that I was powerfully attracted to her or whatever, but she kind of exuded something, and I thought that actress carried that really well.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then you get that later on, don't you? When sexy whiskey time is what I've got written down for episode 6, when her and Lorca get together.
Yeah.
The best captains list was just a kind of fan service thing at one point.
Yeah, it was. That's true, because you saw Pike on there and stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, and wasn't Quantum Leap on there as well?
Archer, yeah.
I forget who else was, but like Saru, isn't it? Goes like, who are the best captains or whatever, and the computer lists a load of fan service.
Yeah, that's true.
When the tardigrade left, he was Thor, which was Thortigrade. Because he got that like whole like
he did,
like,
didn't he? That's true.
And he disappeared.
Yeah. I didn't notice that. That's cool.
When they run around the ships, the shirts say disco, and I really dug that. I would totally buy a shirt that said disco.
I didn't see that. That's nice.
When they're training and stuff, they just say disco on them.
Nice.
Drunk engineer guy is all space drunk groovy. I've got written down. When Sarek is in his, I don't know whether it's when he's in vision or whether he's actually dying and he's got stubble.
Yeah.
The stubble seems to start right below his eyes. Just go all the way down. He's just got stubble everywhere.
Nice.
Yeah. Disco, awkward drunk. Gormanganda Space Cow is subtext machine is what I've got written down.
Subtext machine. The whale,
kind of like,
space
whale
whale
was
thing?
in pain, but they were in pain.
Yeah.
It just every time they were talking about them, it was just the subtext of whatever it was.
Okay.
The Harry Mudd thing was spoiled by the previously on.
Do you think he's ever coming back? Because
I don't know, because when he left, it felt pretty
final.
Original series E.
Yeah. Because that's the worry I have, is that they kind of made a bit of a big deal of this in the promotion of like, and we're going to have some classic characters who you'll recognize. And he was in it for 2 episodes. I don't know if Rainn Wilson's coming back ever.
He can get away from his wife just for yucks.
True.
And then go back.
True, yeah.
So they'll find a way to do it if they want to do it.
Yeah.
Episode 8 felt removed. Oh yeah, meet the Forest Patronus thing. I have Willow the Wisp and Patronus as my jokes for the
nice.
Episode 8 glowing bits. But I like that they met a new species and that guy just jammed his hand.
Yeah. Oh! That was pretty fun.
Let me see if I can jam my hand.
Yeah.
The Tyler gonna die speech, which was when he was kind of like, I just want to go up and catch trout on my farm.
Oh yeah, It did very much.
That's when I thought they were going to kill him. Saru's creepy touching in episode 7 or episode 8 rather. You know, when he was coming in, he's kind of like, "Oh no, we just want to stay here with them." And he had like necks, and he just starts rubbing.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
So creepy.
That was very creepy.
So creepy touching.
I don't know. I have no idea what that guy looks like outside of his makeup.
Oh, Doug Jones. He's a weird-looking guy.
Okay.
He's very thin. Yeah, very thin, quite ginger, very pale.
Huh.
He's done a lot of Guillermo del Toro creatures over the years.
Oh, that makes sense. I can see him.
I liked what they were getting at, that whole with the, I forget what they were called, what was the planet called in those last 2 episodes?
Havens or something like that.
Haven, something like that?
Yeah, Haven, something like that.
Haven, but those guys, the guys on Haven, something like that?
They're one of the Whisper guys?
Yeah, that they had no sense of good or bad. They were just trying to create harmony.
Yes.
I kind of dug that.
Me too.
I kind of got what they were going for.
Parvo, yeah.
I kind of got what they were going for with that, but they didn't quite get it right for me.
No, and that felt very original series to me as well, like the smoke monster, glowy kind of in like non-humanoid alien type thing. They got away from that a lot in the later series. It always just seemed to be, particularly in Voyager, a new group of people with slightly different brow ridges or wobbly noses and stuff. And so I kind of enjoyed that. Oh, I see Doug Jones. Okay, yeah, I recognize his face.
The setup from 8 into 9 was not the crescendo I expected. I expected to go into all-out war rather, and they kind of went. They went a bit sideways, and just started doing something else again, which was indicative of the whole series as a whole. The episode 9 music was really Star Warsy. It all sounded like Luke's theme to me.
Huh.
And it really, I don't know, it really took me out of it.
I have to rewatch that. The music in general to me is okay, not great. The main theme doesn't have the kind of grandeur or gravitas that I would expect from a Star Trek theme. It's fine, but it's not great.
The Orville.
Okay, I'll check out the Orville again.
The title sequence. Just let me know if that title sequence doesn't work for you.
Okay.
As a kind of like, yeah, that's what I want.
All right, good.
Then the show probably won't.
Again, it felt a bit more JJ to me, in that it's more subtle and kind of they're going for that cinematic rather than the big, I don't know, modern cinematic, I should say. which is a bit, which to me, a lot of modern cinematic score is a bit nondescript and kind of the samey. So.
Oh, but I always thought the Giacchino music in those last Star Warses was so bombastic. I loved it.
It was good.
It was kind of like it built and built and built, and then just when you thought it was crescendo, it was going to build some more.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. Yeah, it is.
It was just crazy.
It is really good, actually. And actually, that's the thing. I was more thinking of things like the Marvel movies, where it's just like, press one for generic cinematic score here.
Yeah, I get
except Ragnarok. Which I love the music
Which
from.
is, yeah. No, I get that.
I could have done with a bit more electronic in that if we're going to talk about that, but never mind.
In
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Did we not do an episode on Ragnarok?
We did an episode on Ragnarok. I don't know whether I actually mentioned that.
Oh, fair enough. Actually, that's not been released, has it? That'll come out later.
No, we will do an episode on Ragnarok.
We will. We'll get to that. Giorgio's badge. It's the anti-Last Jedi, where all the incompetent people somehow succeed by being assholes rather than failing to learn their lessons.
It's true.
Like, I'm going to be an asshole. You've done all right. Well done.
Well done. Yeah, good job.
Yeah. The Klingon disruptors make people go when they die. There's that one, with that one, Ash Tyler, leaps forward at the last minute, grabs the disruptor and shoots someone, and they just kind of go,
yeah.
Which kind of made me laugh. Like, I think it was meant to be like a little scream, but it was like, I think it's supposed to be faster than that. See, hang on, let me see what I can do. Like that. I think it's, but they kind of just pop out of existence.
Marvelous.
Which I quite enjoyed. Artificial feeling of the wrap-up of the arcs, but that was fine. I was happy enough with that. It felt satisfying, but I knew it was kind of the saccharine version of things.
Yeah.
I've got a note that says Stamets is dying one way or another, but he didn't. And then I thought the ending was actually a nice hook to keep you, and this is a question, actually. This is both an observation and a question for you.
Okay.
The ending of the episode 9, where they're like, we don't know where we are, pull away, wreckage, slightly purple sky.
Yeah.
We're in another universe kind of thing. It's a nice enough hook to keep you going.
Sure.
Question mark?
Yeah. I think if I'd watched it in order and was waiting right now for episode 10, I think I would have been like, ooh, mirror universe, let's watch the next one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would have.
No, that's what I
wanted.
It was enough to suck you in. Because I kind of like the... Because they'd shown you enough jumps, and then because this is something I think we might get back to in as episode 11 or 12 or whatever rolls on, when they show the ship jumping, when they do it 130 times, and it always spins and falls down.
Yeah.
And then when it goes wrong, when Stamets collapses,
like,
it kind of spins both ways and goes both ways.
Yes, I noticed that.
So I wonder if there's a disco in the regular universe.
Well, they okay. I won't spoil anything. There's some discussion of that in episode 10.
Oh, really? Where they say whether they've sheared off.
Yeah. They talk about that very issue. Yeah. I won't go any further with it.
Then because I've got a nice enough hook / 2 discos ?
Yeah.
As my end of episode 10 kind of thing. I really wish they'd killed Tyler, but I think they're trying to do something with him where he's a sleeper agent or something, because he's still clearly under the power of Lorraine.
No, I think it is Lorraine. I just like the Klingon being called Lorraine.
Lorraine Bennis from Seinfeld.
It's funny. There's actually a woman called Lorraine who works in the data center where I work, but it's spelled all Utah. So it's spelled big L, little a, big R, AYNE.
Oh Christ!
Which if you put an apostrophe in between the A and the R is a Klingon name.
Yeah, no, it's not far off. Wow. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. But clearly, there's more than just giving herself up and wanting to wear a mocap uniform that she's aboard disco for. So
yes,
I think
yes.
And is it in 10 where she's like, "I'll never let them hurt you" or whatever?
I think it's in 10. Yeah.
Or is that still in 9?
Yeah. There's those they kind of blur together, so it's in one of the two.
Right. They do for you because you watched them all.
True.
Like in the last 20 minutes, on multiple screens at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to stay watching it. If I'm honest, if you want to do this again at the end of the first series, then I'll stay watching it.
Yeah, I'm undecided myself, so I'm not completely sold on the idea of us talking about the rest of it. But if I keep watching it, then I might say, well, if I watch the next 2 or 3 episodes, then let's say we'll do it. But I don't know. It's still. I'm definitely going to go back and finish episode 10.
Yeah, I'll probably finish episode 10 and then go from there with it. Really.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to go beyond that.
I don't think it's 100% because like TV time for me is quite limited a lot of the time, and I've watched. I think I watched all of these on the TV, apart from some of episode 10. I don't know that it's something that feels as vital for television watching as which is a shame because I like to watch things. I like to go to the cinema. I don't really want to watch stuff on my phone or iPad.
Yeah,
but it doesn't at the moment. It doesn't grab me as a kind of thing where I'm like Westworld was the last one where I started watching it on Jay's Sky Go app or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I got the Now TV app for the first time because I wanted to watch it on the TV. It felt like it demanded my attention like that.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas this has gone the other way.
Yeah, that's a shame. That really is a shame.
So,
yeah,
but I think weirdly, I think I'll watch the end of the rest of the series of Orville because it's such an oddity to me.
Yeah, I'm
like it'll... Yeah.
Gonna try and find out how I'm to watch it because if it's on Fox, then I'm gonna have to probably watch it on some kind of on-demand service to be able to catch it.
I don't even know, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'll probably have to use my Comcast Xfinity on-demand shit, and that means I've got ads. But no, never mind. I'll still give it a watch.
Yeah, if I could share my thing with you, I would.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll figure it out.
Transatlantically, that just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
But I'd be interested to see what you make of that. I mean, that's a real oddity, and I can't say it's better because it's not. But it kind of, in terms of, I've watched all of those on my phone, I think. So I haven't even watched them on the iPad. I've watched them 4 inches rather than...
Sure.
And it works quite well because I think it smushes down some of the cheapness of it.
Okay.
But...
It'd be interesting to see what it looks like on my 60-inch.
I will be fascinated to know because but I think it might be a look you really respond to as a fan.
It might be, yeah.
I think it looks like The Next Generation because it's consciously being that. And I think it's kind of... It's probably comfortably familiar because it's ripping off so much that I've forgotten.
Okay.
But there's something... It's got something about it that I kind of find less stressful than Disco. Whereas Disco's kind of like... Disco... So I have a weird thing, as you know, where I can... what's the right way to put it? Because I wasn't planning to say this. Score it against its ambition.
Okay.
Or its pretense. So Disco pretends to be this grand, big, huge thing.
Yes.
And its ambition is kind of like, we're going to be this big, huge, new televisual Star Trek, and you're going to love it. And it wet farts so early in that ambition.
It does.
You know, and whereas the Orville goes, we're just going to be some fucking fan film, comfortable bullshit with dick jokes.
Yeah.
And it nails it every minute of every episode.
Okay, all right. So it's living up to its own expectations.
Yeah, but it's still not good.
No. But that's because its expectations aren't necessarily good because they're dick jokes, and I like Star Trek, and I've got enough money to make a Star Trek show.
There's a bit in the last one I watched where, and if you can cut this clip in, I'll be amazed, where they blow up something, and the guy on the helm stands up and goes like, "Did you see that? Boom, bitch!" and just kind of does all this like.
That's what I'm talking about, right there on that boom!
Lieutenant!
Sorry?
Well done, Lieutenant.
Boom.
And it's not a funny joke. A lot of the jokes aren't very funny because they're very flat delivery, you know? But and to be honest, I think it's because he doesn't really want there to be jokes there. But yeah, so I'm on episode 5, so I assume that's in episode 4, or the very start of episode 5.
Okay.
No, it's in 4. It's in 4 because it's the B story to 4, which I won't tell you what the story. But they have to go somewhere and they have to stop something while something else is happening somewhere else. Yeah, it's in 4, and it just kind of like you wouldn't get that in a Star Trek, and you wouldn't get any of the kind of like, are you drinking a beer, or like there's a bit where they have to explain to the data android what a dick is, and he thinks calling someone a dick is a compliment, and I don't know. It's a lot of stuff that's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's like Data, or that's like whatever, or and they've got the really strong female character, and I don't know.
Going back to Disco, actually, speaking about androids, I was kind of disappointed that there's an android in the on the Shinjo, is that the name of the original ship? Who's kind of like a roly-faced Daft Punk kind of android, and I was really disappointed that android wasn't in the main crew, because that was a cool look.
Note to note, it's my second note. It says Daft Punk and THX on the bridge for episode 1. And but you get the weird like Nebula ripoff.
You do,
don't
exactly,
you?
which isn't as visually appealing to me as the Daft Punk robot.
No, but you do get the Daft Punk and then the guy with the big thing running around the back of his head. That I really want there to be like Cool Beans or something to be running across on his visor.
Rad.
It's like some sort of rad with 3 A's and an exclamation mark.
Okay, so...
But yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixed bag for me, Disco. I want to like it more than I do. That's my problem right now. Is I really, and that's why I'm kind of intrigued by the Orville, because you're not the first person to tell me, check out the Orville if what you want is just more TNG kind of.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's true. I think you'll have to tell me, because for me it's just such an oddity, because it shouldn't be made.
It's like, how are they getting away with this?
Shown on mainstream TV. Yeah. It's for no one. Like, I don't know who's watching it. There was
that's kind of how I feel like it's a much cheaper to make show, obviously, so it probably gets made because it's cheap. But there's a revival right now of the Gong Show that's shown over here, which was a TV game show in the 70s, I think, and it's Will Arnett and Mike Myers have got together to do it, and Mike Myers plays a character in prosthetics, but he's like a legendary game show host, and it's like, how are they making this? Because it just gets celebrities on, and then the whole premise of the show is variety acts come on and they gong them or score them out of 10. That's the whole premise of the show, and they're weird variety acts. And I don't know how they're getting away with making it, because it is utter anarchy in a fairly delightful, but you can't watch too many of them kind of way. And I don't know how they're getting away with it. So yeah, the Orville's kind of similar to that. And I just wonder whether it's the execs kind of going, that they're just watching that downward trend on their ad revenue graphs and just being like, whatever, do something different.
Fuck it, we'll try everything. Yeah. It could be true. I mean, like, especially with an Orville, where they're like, just go to the cash cows. Who have we got?
Seth MacFarlane wants to make Star Trek. Okay.
How much is it going to cost an episode? Can we afford to make a loss on that for a year? Yeah, okay. We sell it to Disney. Yeah, okay, let's just fucking do it.
Can we call it Star Trek?
Once the Disney money comes through, it's not going to be our problem. Yeah, what was I going to say? I had a point. I lost it now. No. Oh, I tell you one thing that I wasn't going to say, because it doesn't spoil part of the Orville. It's just a running gag in the background of the Orville. There was a point where I was watching one of these last 2 episodes of Disco, and it hadn't cut back to a storyline in a while. I was like, where's that space guy who's trying to fuck the Doctor all the time? Like, and then I was thinking, like, it's real bold that they do this in this show. It's from the Orville. I was kind of like, why is it?
But it was the Orville.
It's literally just a gelatinous blob that's always trying to bang the Doctor in the Orville, and it's just like one time in an episode he'll keep going to sickbay with some other sickness, and it's like, funny. So what are you doing later? And I think the blob is played by Norm Macdonald. Yeah, and it was just a moment where I was kind of like, hasn't done
really?
That one. It's so bold while they're doing all this dramatic stuff. They keep doing that as well. They'll do this little bit of ha-ha while they're doing the rest of it. And I was kind of like, oh no, wait,
that's
two
funny.
Different shows. Wrong show. And it was just the only moment where I kind of confused the two of them completely.
Marvelous. Yes, I mean, Disco's...
Oh, what a downbeat episode.
Yeah, seriously. Disco's fine, but not great. Yeah, it's not what I wanted it to be, but I don't hate it. And I feel like, actually, that's kind of an upbeat ending, because we live in a world where you either hate or love things these days, and there's no room for something in between. And I feel like I'm kind of in between on it, because I don't hate it. I do enjoy it when I'm watching it, but it's just not quite reached the heights that I wanted it to reach, and not quite doesn't quite have the qualities that I wanted it to have.
I know what the point was I was going to make, or the question I was going to ask. In any other era of your life, would you have given this show, Disco, longer to germinate? Or do you think it's a statement about how you need something to be as good as it can be at the beginning to really grab you? Like, because if you think about, like, Voyager was real rough.
Got me from the start, but I was like 13. So
what's that?
It got me from the start, but I was like 13, so you can't really judge. But yeah, you're right. With I think you were going to go on to say the first like 2.5 seasons of TNG, right?
Next Gen are just dog shit. Yeah,
they're
like,
awful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff in there I really love now, like the weird Space Casino one.
And watching Encounter at Farpoint's
really
amazing. Like the first one with Q in it, where he's dressed in, where he's got like the geisha outfit on almost. It's crap. But I think the correct answer to it is no. I absolutely wouldn't have, because I've got a good evidence for me not doing that, and that's Enterprise. I think I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes of Enterprise on Sky when it came out, and I was like, done.
Okay. Right.
Like, fuck you, Rod Stewart. Always sounded like a Rod Stewart song. Getting from there to here.
Getting from there to here.
I recorded those for my friend Chris at uni, and I was just kind of like, this is not good. And there was just that one Klingon running through a cornfield for like 30 minutes. That's the first episode,
yeah. And then like a green silo blows up after they shoot it once with a phaser. It's like, this is dog shit.
It's like Quantum Leap. Come on, man. You used to be cool.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That was the problem. Yeah, I'd have given it more credit if it had cut to the bridge and he'd been like, oh boy.
I didn't watch a lot of it.
No, I weirdly fell back into it when we were on our road trip in 2006.
Did you?
Yeah.
How did you?
It was before we picked you up in Denver. Every night we stopped, there was an episode that just, hello Denver. There just happened to be an episode of Enterprise on, and I was like, this is actually catching me. This is actually kind of decent. And it must have been the last season of it, because I think it finished in 2005, so that would have been reruns even.
Okay, yeah.
And
at that point,
those
doing
last
baseball episodes and things.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. So they just didn't give a shit.
No, they knew they were cancelled, so they were just like, let's just tie it up. But there's a few decent episodes in that last season, and the very last episode got a hella ton. Okay, I'm gonna go with that.
A hella ton.
The last episode got a hella ton of shit from the fans, but I loved it. I thought it was great.
What was the last episode?
It had Frakes and Marina Sirtis in it as Riker and Troy. And
and they're looking at some fucking historical archive. I think I've seen clips of that.
Yeah. Riker's preparing to give like a speech to the Federation, and he's studying the events that led up to a great speech that Archer gave, and it's really good. I actually really liked it.
Tremendous.
So on that note,
so what you're saying is you gave up on Enterprise and ended up liking it more than you like Discovery now, or potentially more than you'll probably like the Orville if you give that a go in time.
Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Great. I'm going to watch something else.
Well, I'm going to go and try and find an episode of The Orville to watch, I think.
Nice. Yeah, let me know what you make of it, because I think that could be what you want. I'm just not 100% sure all of it will be. I don't know. I need to read up on what people made of Disco and of The Orville, but I know I'm slightly more fascinated with The Orville than I am with Disco. Just because Disco feels like it's got all... Like, does this turn all the gear no idea? Do you know that?
I haven't heard it, but I can kind of infer from it what it might mean. It's like they've got all the tools to do it, but...
They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like Star Trek All the Gear No Idea is Disco.
It's like a 12-year-old with a Ferrari. It's like he wants it, but he doesn't really know how to operate it.
Yeah, and it's all shiny and cool, but he's just like,
Yeah. Sit in the drive, revving the engine, yeah. Okay,
and,
interesting.
Not that the Orville's much better, but at least it's kind of got a bit of love in it, I think, even if it's its own particular kind of shit. So.
Sure.
And not that either are particularly good, but I'm more I think there's only 10 episodes of The Orville anyway, so I'm pretty more inclined to think I'll watch all of those. But then I might watch all of Disco on my phone now. I just don't think I'm going to make time to sit and get it at the TV, you know. Early on, it got me with the visuals where I was kind of like, oh, it's got a lot of scope. This deserves the television.
Yeah,
Where in truth, I don't think it does.
No, I think you're right. And I haven't watched one on my TV since, I think, episode 5.
Oh shit! How have you been watching them?
On my iPad in the bath.
Oh, fair enough. That's nice and relaxing. I can get on board with that. Did they kill or did they leave her in a wheelchair, old Admiral Hardbutt?
Good question. No, I think she's still alive. I think she made it out in episode 9, didn't she?
Yes, because she's not on the ship. So I think wasn't there a throwaway line where they were kind of like, her medical shuttle safely arrived at whatever.
I think there was, yeah.
Just to get rid of her, which made me think like, well, the fucking doctor up there is no good, then, is he?
Well, he's too busy treating his fella, isn't he?
Oh, good old damn! They did that sweet, cheap horror movie trick at the end of episode 5.
Where he's looking into the mirror and his eyes go black or whatever. Yeah.
And he moves away and he's still stood there in the reflection. I was like, that's like every film school horror guy did that trick, because it's like, wait, we can just cut it down the middle and he can still be there. You know? That made me laugh.
Nice. Yeah. Cheap, at least it wasn't gunshot cut to black.
Gunshot cut to black.
Getting from there to here, it's been a long time, but my time is finally near, and I will see my dream come alive at last. I will touch the sky, and I'm not gonna hold it down no more. No, they're not gonna change my mind.
You can find us at facebook.com/GAMFcast. You can find us at @GAMFcast on Twitter. You can find us at @InstaGAMF on Instagram. You can email us at gamfcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening to GAMF.